Yo, what is going on, you guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some predictions of who will make up the Sinister Six in one of the upcoming MCU Spider-Man films, as it looks very likely that the Sinister Six will be featured due to the constant reminder that Sony would actually like to do a Sinister Six movie since the TASM franchise, and that most of the MCU Spider-Man villains thus far have been set up in a position to where they can return and become a Sinister Six member. And I'll be going through each and individual villain and end up giving you my final verdict on who will be in the team. But before we get into this, if you are new to the channel and you do enjoy daily Spider-Man and Marvel news theories and fan fictions and all that type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell next to the subscribe button to not miss any more content on the channel. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video. So let's start with Vulture Adrian Toomes. I think this is the most obvious pick for the Sinister Six and could provide the dynamic and that personal relation between a villain and Peter. Vulture was certainly the most personally connected villain to Spider-Man thus far in the MCU, and I believe that Adrian Toomes not being so evil as such could provide an interesting dynamic to the team. Maybe when the time does come, he could be the catalyst for Spider-Man to win, as Adrian might not agree with all the other villains, or he could even end up teaming up with Spider-Man to defeat the villains. You never really know. However, with Toomes showing up in the Morbius trailer and him clearly showing that he does have more appearances lined up and planned for his character, it's almost certainly that he will be a part of that team. Let's move on to another obvious member, Mysterio. Now, while Mysterio may be quote-unquote dead if his plan was to frame Spider-Man for his death, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Mysterio is still alive, and I think it's very obvious that he's still alive. And with him being one of the bigger villains for Spider-Man in the MCU, it would make the most sense if he were to return. Also, unlike Vulture, Mysterio seems to now have a personal hatred for Spider-Man since he foiled his plan in Far From Home. In fact, his hate for the webhead was enough to the point of framing him for his own death in order to get Peter Parker prosecuted. I think that Mysterio will play a big role in getting the Sinister Six together and being one of the key players when the time does come. Okay, now let's move on to a villain that has yet to appear, but I think will almost certainly be in the Sinister Six roster, and that is Kraven the Hunter. Kraven has been rumored to be the main villain of Spider-Man 3 in the MCU, and if he is the main villain, some conflict in MCU Spider-Man 3 will probably throw Kraven alongside Mysterio with that personal vendetta to Spider-Man, to team up with other villains to finally eliminate him from the picture altogether. Let's not forget that Mysterio was rumored for a very long time to be the villain for Spider-Man Far From Home, and he ended up being the villain. So the same thing could happen for Kraven here, and I will put my money on Kraven being the villain as well, and then potentially seeing him in the Sinister Six. Okay, so let's move on to more villains that we have met. Morbius. Now, while Morbius is in his own movie, I think that with Spider-Man being referenced left, right, and center in that trailer, and most likely in that movie too, I think that it's possible that Morbius will join the team to take down Spider-Man. How and why are the main questions though. How is quite obvious, through Adrian Toomes, who showed up in the Morbius trailer, and this will almost certainly be the connection for Morbius to join the Six, or the MCU in some capacity at least. But why is a mystery. Morbius currently, to our understanding, doesn't have anything against Spider-Man, and they haven't even crossed paths yet. However, the movie isn't even out yet, so this could almost certainly change, with maybe Michael having some kind of a vendetta against superheroes, or maybe even Spider-Man himself. Or maybe Adrian Toomes convinces him that Spider-Man is a bad person and needs to be brought to justice. Or maybe he's even convinced by the likes of someone like J. Jonah Jameson, or the Mysterio death scene at the end of Far From Home. We will just have to see. However, I think with him getting his own movie and also being a Spider-Man villain, it's very likely that we could see him in the Sinister Six movie. The next candidate is Scorpion. Now, this also is fairly obvious after Homecoming. Matt Gargan seems to be very riled up after the fact that Spider-Man stopped him and his crew, so in a future movie, maybe even in Spider-Man 3, Matt Gargan will join the ever-growing roster of Spider-Man MCU villains and become the Scorpion. Then I think he'll definitely play a big part of the Sinister Six and become a member there too. And the sixth and final member, I believe, will most likely be Shocker. Shocker played a decent role in Homecoming, and I believe that he will be accompanied with Adrian Toomes, and since they worked together before in Homecoming, Adrian might incorporate the Shocker in there as the sixth member of the team. Whilst Shocker may not be the most powerful, he certainly did provide a decent challenge against Spider-Man in Homecoming, and if he teams up with the rest of the 5 members, they will provide a formidable force for him as well. Some honourable mentions who could be in the team are Dimitri from Far From Home, who could be the Chameleon, Tom Hardy's Venom, even though I don't think it's very likely, or maybe even Norman Osborn as the Green Goblin if he gets introduced later in the film series. However, I think the final members of the 6 will consist of, at least right now, Michael Keaton as Vulture, Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, Jared Leto as Michael Morbius, Michael Mando as Scorpion, and Bucky Woodbine as the Shocker. With that being said, thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. Who do you think will consist of the Sinister Six team? If you do enjoy this type of daily content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to not miss any of the content when it goes up, and you get the videos as soon as they go up. And with that being said, once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.